Ladies and gentlemen, with Wrestlemania Backlash being very, very soon, I decided that we would go back to a show that was almost 20 years old. Welcome to the CWS, and welcome to Backlash 2002. On the night where WWE would return to the Kemper Arena, the first show since Over the Edge 1999, ladies and gentlemen, it is Backlash 2002. It's April 21st, 2002. We're in Kansas City, Missouri. 12,489 fans were in attendance. The buy rate was 400,000. And one man's journey to stand alone. Our main event this evening is Mr. Hollywood Hulk Hogan taking on Triple H for the undisputed WWF Championship, and also a Raw match with Undertaker versus Stone Cold Steve Austin for the #1 contendership. So, ladies and gentlemen, on Heat, Big Show defeated Just Incredible and Steven Richards in a handicap match in 2 minutes. But let's get to our first contest, Tajiri versus Billy Kidman. Let's watch this. So we just had Tajiri versus Billy Kidman. This was a fun matchup. It was very entertaining. It was a quick match. It was about a 9-minute match. Great opener. These two would basically be really good working together. They were very entertaining. Tajiri wins after hitting the red mist into Mr. Kidman's eyes and getting the roller for the 1-2-3. Tori Wilson was in Tajiri's corner in a kimono. Looked actually really nice in that kimono, I have to admit that one. But yeah, this was a very entertaining Cruiserweight Championship matchup, guys. So, next up we have Scott Hall versus Bradshaw. So we just had Scott Hall versus Bradshaw. This wasn't a good... Well, it was an okay match. It was a bit... It was boring. It's Scott Hall before he gets fired from the WWE. And Bradshaw's okay, but I don't think he would have been, he's not as good as he would be a few years later as JBL, I thought, even though he was a bit of a, even though I thought he was a bit of a prick. But it was an entertaining matchup. Scott Hall gets the win after a low blow and a roll-up. Nothing really of note in the match to be said. Next up, guys, we have Jazz versus Trish Stratus for the Women's Championship. Let's do this. So we just had Jazz versus Trish. This was actually a really fun match. I enjoyed Trish in the WWE around this time. Jazz as well was very entertaining. Molly Holly comes out and basically says that Trish is a cheater, attacks her. Then Jazz comes out and wins with a submission. Nothing really of note in the match, just the submission win for Jazz. But next up, guys, we've got an entertaining matchup. We've got Brock Lesnar taking on Jeff Hardy. Jesus Christ. And this was around, this is Brock Lesnar's first pay-per-view match, I think. So, let's watch this. So, we just had Brock Lesnar versus Jeff Hardy. This is actually Brock's first televised match in WWE. Holy shit. Beautiful whisper and win by Jeff onto Brock. Brock walked into it, and Jeff just hits it perfectly. Spot on. 3 power bombs by Lesnar, and it's just a technical knockout. Jeff's just out of it. They would carry on this feud until King of the Ring, where it would be a tag team match with Paul and Brock versus the Hardy Boys in a match. But yeah, this was a way to get Brock over. It fucking worked. It was good. I did enjoy Brock when he first came into the WWE. I have to admit that one. So this did the job perfectly. It shows Brock as a beast. Jeff's fucking relentless and fucking resourceful, but at the end of the day, it was a technical knockout. And the F5, and I feel like with the steel chair he didn't get hit. He didn't hit the steel chair, thank God. But yeah, it was a good way to get Brock Lesnar over. I've got to admit that one. So we'll see what our next matchup is. Oh, by the way, before the Jazz Trish match, Vince McMahon came into Ric Flair's office and talked about how now he's an owner, he's not got respect in the locker room and stuff like that. So it plants the seed for the heel turn, which is happening in a few weeks' time, if I recall. So we'll see what our next matchup is. So, we just had Kurt Angle versus Edge. This was a good matchup. Very entertaining. These two worked so well with each other. These two would go on as well to become part of the SmackDown 6, along with Chris Benoit, Rey Mysterio, and Los Guerreros. These two just put on a great matchup. These two would go on to be future champions as well. Edge is a former Intercontinental and Tag Team champ. Angle is a former WWE champion as well. But this was just a great matchup. They had everything scouted. It was great. They had the chair shot where Angle hits him in the face with it, himself in the head with the rope. Beautiful Angle slam to win the match for Angle. This was a good match, and this is before the hair versus hair match at King of the Ring 2002. So yeah, this is Angle with hair, which is weird to see. So, next up, guys, we have got Chris Jericho coming out. Oh, okay, let's watch this. So, let's do this. So, I just had Jericho basically saying that he's not, why is he not on the card? He is the first undisputed champion. And, yeah, fuck you all, I'm leaving. Which is a bit upsetting because he was the first undisputed champion and he does deserve to have a match on the card. But it's just one of those things. But next up, guys, we have got Eddie Guerrero versus RVD for the IC Championship. I'm looking forward to this one. Let's watch it. So we just had Eddie Guerrero versus RVD for the IC title. This was good. These two played off each other very well. This is Eddie's return to WWE after being fired and let go by the WWE. Yeah, it was a great matchup. Frog Splash gets the win for Eddie and new IC champion. Eddie was just the fucking best. As a face or a heel, he was just fucking brilliant. And yeah, it was a bloody brilliant matchup. Next up, we have got The Undertaker versus Stone Cold Steve Austin for the #1 contendership to the Undisputed Championship. Let's watch this match, shall we? So it just had Undertaker versus Austin in the #1 contenders match. This was it was a good matchup. It's Austin versus Undertaker. But it's weird to think that at Mania 19 he would have his last match. It's nuts to think about. This is again for the #1 contendership. It's Undertaker versus Austin. It's going to be an okay match. A lot of interference, a lot of threatening to get DQ'd, and then Undertaker wins after booting Austin in the face with its chair and getting the 1, 2, 3, but Austin's foot is on the ropes. This would lead into a feud with Austin versus Flair, basically trying to recreate Austin McMahon, which just didn't happen. But it was an okay match. It was a fun matchup. So, next up, ladies and gentlemen, we have Billy and Chuck with Rico versus Maven and Al Snow for the Tag Team Championships. Let's watch this. So we just had the tag team match of Rico and Billy and Chuck versus Al Snow and Maven. It was a match. It wasn't a strong match. It was an okay match. But again, Chuck pins Maven after a super kick to win the match and retain the belts. So that's pretty much it. It wasn't a memorable match, to be fair, guys. So, our main event, guys, is Triple H versus Hollywood Hogan for the Undisputed title. Let's do it. So, we just had Hogan versus Triple H for the Undisputed title. And, it was a back and forth match. It's Hogan versus Triple H. This is the first time in a while that these two fought. I think this is actually one of the very few times they fought. But this was, it was a back and forth. And around the ending of the match, Triple H applied a figure 4 to Hogan, who fought out of it. Big boot, running leg drop from Hogan onto Hunter. Jericho then comes out, pull the referee out. Jericho hits Hogan with a chair. Triple H performs a face break, knee smash, and a clothesline onto Jericho, knocking him out of the ring. Another big boot from Hogan. He attempts the leg drop, but Triple H avoids it. Pedigree onto Hogan. Triple H then tries to pin, but then Undertaker comes out, attacks the ref, attacks Triple H, clothesline to the Undertaker from Hogan, and then Hogan hits another leg drop to win the match and the title. It was a good match. It didn't need both Jericho and Undertaker interfering. It just needed Undertaker, I thought, to continue the feud with Hogan and Undertaker going forward. But yeah, this was great. It was a fun match, entertaining, and it told a story. So what did I think of Backlash 2002? It was a good show. There were some good matches on the show. There were some not so good matches on the show. Tajiri Billy Kidman was a good match. Lesnar versus Lita was a fun squash match. Brock Lesnar versus Jeff Hardy, my apologies. Edge versus Kurt Angle was great. Eddie versus Rob Van Dam was good. Hogan versus Triple H was okay. It was a good matchup. Worst match, probably Scott Hall versus Bradshaw. I thought that was a really weak match. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for watching episode 88 of the Classic Wrestling Series. I will see you later tonight for AEW Dynamite. Oh boy. I'll see you then, guys.